Hey, how's it going? Well, to Newsac, Wednesday, 25th of August 2021. We'll look front of papers. First up, New York Times, picture from Afghanistan. No developments in that story today. Down here, Kathleen Hochul being sworn in as governor of New York after Andrew Cuomo fecked off. Over here, Guatemala, story about an anti-corruption case that was happening into the president. The guy doing the prosecuting was fired and is now fled to America with the evidence saying the country is ran by the mafia. Down here, fixture, right-wing radio could soon govern California. That's Vince Cable. He's a COVID truther, anti-LGBT. He once said the ideal minimum wage is $0 and 0 cents. Down here, Charlie Watts, drummer of the Rolling Stones, died, RIP. USA Today, Afghanistan terrified has filled a vacuum. Fears that ISIS-K may target Afghans. Okay, new ISIS just dropped for 2021. Over here, FDA approved the vaccines. Down here, Tennessee floods. Wall Street Journal, there's the G7 having a Zoom call, presumably about the Taliban. Underneath that, story about the young lad who fell off the plane the other day, RIP. Down here, story about Nikolai Tesla. Croatians want to put him on their Euro coins coming in 2023, but Serbia not too happy. They've always had a bit of a struggle over who owns his legacy. Variant in Asia disrupts supplies. That's global supply chains are under pressure. Massive demand for goods from vaccinated countries like the US and Europe. Problem is in the global south, not as many vaccines, huge outbreaks in the ports and factories. Global Times from China, Paralympics kicking off in Tokyo. Over on the left, Kabul. Down here, going to be a report coming out from the US about the China Lab Leak theory, and they've said here US attempts to frame up China with unreliable second-hand evidence, so maybe they've seen the report already. Jerusalem Post, COVID, Charlie Watts down the bottom. Star from South Africa, jobs, bloodbath shock. The unemployment rate in South Africa is nearly hitting 35% now. Crazy statistic, more than a third of the population unemployed. The Australian lockdowns, this lad's a neurosurgeon who's been pulled up on. He basically said that he could do surgeries that others couldn't, but he also bankrupted a lot of people in the process, the patients, so he's been pulled up on it and going to be investigated. The Hindu from India, union minister arrested in Maharashtra for a remark on CM, so these two lads are political rivals. One threatened to slap the other, and now he's been arrested. Underneath that, a guru and some of his faithful who are evacuated from Afghanistan. Tehran Times, story about the nuclear talks coming up in Vienna. Down here, terrible US defeat in Afghanistan. Afghan exit was worst ever defeat in US history. Chabahar report becomes permanent member of the World FCO, that's Free Zones organization. I think the first one ever was in Shannon Airport in the 70s, so a duty-free zone in the airport. So good to see Iran are getting in on the old duty-free, tax-free stuff. Love to see it. The Herald from Scotland, story about lockdown, Charlie Watts. Down here, Rosemary Goring, why trigger warnings are an insult. I'd actually love to read that, but I can't get past the paywall on that site. Belfast Telegraph, PSNI wants paras to face charges for 1980 killing. That's the paratroopers, PSNI, police service in Northern Ireland. Yet another legacy killing story. This man particularly was shot in the back 6 times. He was running away. Here we are, how frostbite boy nearly became hypothermia boy. So yesterday you might remember the story about the lad who was out swimming for 12 hours and was recovered, and there was a load of dolphins sort of protecting him. Turns out he's a viral star from a few years ago. I'll link to the video in the description. Good to see he's still alive anyway and he didn't die. That would have been bad. Irish Examiner story about the Paralympics. Event sector awaiting green light to go ahead with gigs. Vaccine story. Afghanistan story. Something up the top about retail rents to force closures. Okay, so the rents are going up on retail units and the industry bodies are getting annoyed about it. So maybe something will be done about rent controls now that it's affecting businesses. Irish Times, Paralympics, same photo. Vaccinations, Biden, Kabul. Irish Independent, Charlie Watts, Afghanistan, freedom's coming, lockdown. Irish Daily Mail, Charlie Watts, festivals for the vaccinated, Kabul. Irish Sun, Charlie Watts, some celeb shite. Evening Herald, football, Paralympics, freedom's coming. Financial Times, Taliban, Afghanistan. OnlyFans founder says unfair. Banks gave him no choice but to ban porn. But yeah, apparently a big problem with this was that the banks just won't accept payments to do with sex workers, and they shut down a lot of sex workers' accounts. He's particularly singled out the Bank of New York Mellon. The Guardian, there's Charlie Watts again. US troops to leave Kabul. Times, Charlie Watts, Taliban, Afghanistan. Daily Telegraph, evacuations from Afghanistan. What's up next? Independent, 4 stories across top. Britain, Prime Minister, Tunisia, Love Island has lost its innocence. Charlie Watts, Biden, Afghanistan, Kabul. Daily Express, Charlie Watts, Afghanistan, human interest story. iNewspaper, Charlie Watts, Taliban. Daily Mail, Charlie Watts, Taliban, true crime. Metro, Joe's no to Bojo. I do like that. It's a good headline. Same story as always. Charlie Watts. Daily Star, we're going to miss you, Charlie. Charlie Watts dead. Oh, we're at the end. That's it. Another day of Taliban ack. If you want to stay off corporate, state media, any of that sort of shite, just click the link in the description. Alright, thanks. Good luck.